So we're going to close this first international conference on road safety for motorbikes. I'm going to invite Mr. Antonio Perlot to draw conclusion from the work carried out in the last 2 days. Thank you, Antonio.
Okay. So good afternoon. Welcome back from lunch. Please have a seat. Go. Okay, so my task is to briefly take you through the main takeaways of the last 2 days. I hope you enjoyed the event as much as I did. I found it very informative. I think the organizers did a really good job in bringing interesting speakers to animate interesting exchanges. And we put together the key takeaways of this 2 days, which you will see on the slides. And just that you know, there will be a report being produced by the organizers which will follow this event, so developing, of course, these key takeaways. So we started yesterday with the international policy overview, and I will not name all the speakers because you were here, you were able to follow those discussions, but we had the privilege of getting presentations from international institutions. And basically what has been interesting all over the program is the fact that there is a consensus on all of the outputs I will show you today. There have been no disagreements, which I think is a very good thing. So to start with, so of course motorcycle safety is considered to be an issue which needs to be solved. It's a problem which has different sizes depending on the regions of the world, but it is considered by all to be extremely important to be addressed. It is also recognized that there is not a unique solution to solve motorcycle safety challenge. And the different solutions that we looked at, they all must be evaluated, prioritized and integrated. This is quite important because the level of development of road safety, and I would say also the level of development of countries around the world, differs widely. But the idea is, of course, there's a need to work on the whole safety system, looking at the infrastructure, looking at motorcycles, and looking, of course, at user behavior. We then zoomed further from the international environment to the regions, and we had the possibility to have presentations from different areas of the world. Again, here, the idea is not to focus too much on the detail, but clearly there is a recognition that motorcycle mobility is, of course, one, motorcycling is one, but it also translates in different ways of moving, different kinds of vehicles, and this must be recognized also in the solutions that are developed. So we talked about key performance indicators, targets for road safety improvements to be achieved. This is important to have to move forward, but we have to keep in mind the different realities so that these can be reflected in the solutions that are implemented. We then zoomed further in from the regional to the national policy level. And here again, having the possibility to count on different presentations. As I said earlier, realities are different, but it is important to look at what is available as tools to solve the issues we have, because good practices that have worked in one area can be replicated elsewhere. And especially in an international environment like this one, there's a lot of possibilities to use solutions that have worked elsewhere in a different setting. Having in mind, of course, that what is written here as creative thinking is necessary, we know the limitations I mentioned earlier on the economic side, which are for all, I would say, partners in the ecosystem, whether this is the administrations, whether this is, of course, the industry, the user that is buying a vehicle or the equipment that goes with it. there needs to be creative thinking in adapting this to the local conditions. So it is an opportunity to learn from each other, but it needs to be adapted to the local situations. Local situations, here we are. So we come to the city level, and this is perhaps the level where there's an overall agreement in this room that motorcycles are part of sustainable mobility. This is very important, and because of the advantages they bring, there is a need to work on the challenges they also bring, the challenges of road safety. So here, there's a recognition that throughout the world, if you look at the different levels of the road network and road infrastructure and the environment, cities are by and large facing the same challenges. Whether it's Barcelona, or whether it's Southeast Asia, or whether it is Latin America, the challenges of urban mobility are there. There's a need to find more agile vehicles that will be able to move in those environments, reduce congestion and pollution. So a motorcycle can be part of that solution. But obviously the challenge of safety needs to be also integrated there. And if you look at other areas of these countries, whichever they are, all the countries applies the same rule. Rural environment will have, again, similarities. And so a challenge for a given country is to make sure that there is a certain organic approach in addressing these when the safety strategy and the transport and mobility strategies are developed, to make sure that these different levels are working together. And being in Europe, which obviously we know, many things are decided at European level, but of course a lot is done then at national, regional and local. So again here, there's a value in exploring what are the best practices that have worked in different areas of the world and transpose them. Safe system approach, we talked about it. It is basically the fact that motorcycling as such is not something that exists in the void. It is something that is used in a given situation. It needs always to look at the overall, I would say, picture when a safe system is developed, having in mind the different parameters that need to be acted upon. So we have in mind the vehicle, of course the infrastructure and the user. And this is where this brings me now. User is important. Of course, the user of the motorcycle is the most important aspect of motorcycle safety here. We know that there is a lot of training practices that are available throughout the world. In some situations, basic training is already in place. It is an issue of moving to defining what can be done on top of basic training, and therefore developing advanced training programs. In other areas, this is completely missing, and basic training needs to be basically implemented. So this is important. It can be incentivized also to make sure that these schemes are developing. We looked at personal protective equipment, which is by definition something that is quite challenging because the cost, but also the weather conditions are very different for the user depending on where this vehicle is being used. There will be a need for diversity of solutions. And again, here certification we saw has brought a lot of improvements which can be used also looking forward, bringing solutions, including solutions such as airbags, which of course are bringing additional promising technology, but having in mind again that in many areas of the world, people are not even wearing helmets. So again, here it's an issue of looking at what is most adapted to a given context. If we look at the vehicles, of course, and here the exhibition speaks for itself, we looked at the what is in the future being developed today, what is already on the market today. We looked at advanced rider assistance systems, and there's an array of solutions that are already on the market today, and the issue is how to promote the take-up and make sure with consumer information that the riders are able to basically understand what are the benefits of getting these vehicles fitted with the ARAS, their own vehicles. And of course we looked also at connectivity and what motorcycles will and are being, of course now with investigations and work being done by entities such as the Connected Motorcycle Consortium, connectivity can bring in making sure the vehicles are connected to the other vehicles in traffic and to the infrastructure. So this is again something we had a chance to discuss. And then finally, safe infrastructure. This has been recognized as a very important element, and obviously when you look at the way the roads are built, again there's huge diversity depending on developed and developing countries, but by and large, road safety audits can bring improvements, and especially if they're developed with the motorcycle perspective in mind. So here, we also touched upon innovations in the area of infrastructure that can make this, I would say, these improvements more tangible for motorcycle riders. We talked about safe trajectory markings, for instance, rating of roads, not only of vehicles. So many opportunities here for steps to be taken, and also again here for best practices to be shared. That is all I wanted to say from my side. I'd like to thank you all. I thought, from my perspective, this was an interesting, very interesting event. I'd like to thank DGT and Anesdor for organizing this, for involving ASEM in the organization. I hope there will be more opportunities in the future to run this event again, and I look forward to seeing you again in that occasion. Thank you very much.